Your Excellency, Mr. Hisham Zazoum, Minister of Tourism, Mr. Matt McNulty, Mr. Richard Bang, distinguished guests, it's a pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Council for our workshop today. I would like just to give you a quick brief about the Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Sub-Council. This is a sub-council from the Egyptian National Competitiveness Council. We'll be talking about the sub-council, about the competitiveness index and the adventure tourism. The Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Sub-Council was actually launched in May 2008 at the special session of the World Economic Forum on the Middle East and North Africa, which was held in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. It's actually the first council in Egypt specialized in tracking and strengthening the efforts to support the competitiveness of the Egyptian tourism sector. Our vision and mission is actually to support the competitiveness of the Egyptian tourism sector, to promote the cooperation and coordination among the experts from the different sectors and different stakeholders to regularly evaluate the performance of the tourism sector. Also to promote the coordination with the different decision makers from the government, from the private sector, the civil society, to propose initiatives and strategies that would enhance the sector's overall performance and to reduce the gap between the national and the international levels regarding the service industry. If we take a quick look about the Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Index, we find that it is mainly composed of 3 sub-indexes covering 14 pillars, and it calculated using more than 75 indicators. So the 3 sub-indexes that we have is the regulatory framework, the business environment and infrastructure, and the third one is the human, cultural and natural resources. Under these 3 sub-indexes, we're already having around 75 indicators, and each one is ranked. The Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Index mainly aims to measure the factors and the policies that makes a country attractive to develop its travel and tourism sector. So if we go thoroughly quickly under the first sub-council, the regulatory framework, we have some indicators like the policy rules and regulations, environmental sustainability, safety, security, health and hygiene, prioritization of the travel and tourism. While under the second sub-council, the business environment and the infrastructure, we have the air transportation infrastructure, the ground transportation infrastructure, tourism infrastructure, the ICT infrastructure, price competitiveness in the travel and tourism industry. While under the third sub-council, the third sub-index about the human, cultural and natural resources, we have the human resources, the affinity for travel and tourism, the natural resources and the cultural resources. Actually, if we look about the ranking for Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Index globally, which is actually issued by the World Economic Forum, and it evaluates the country's competitiveness in the travel and tourism sectors based on the 3 previous subsectors. We find that Egypt ranked already in 2008 66. Then it was a little bit improved to 64 in 2009, while it was deteriorated and dropped back to 75 in 2011. If we go through the indicators quickly, I don't want to waste your time, about the regulatory framework, we find that already under the policy rules and regulations, we're having several indicators. Each one is ranked, but in general we can see that there is deterioration in the ranking, and ranking dropped. If we go, for instance, to environmental sustainability, we can find also same figures already in most of the in most of the indicators also dropped. We're having the safety and security, which is obviously that in 2011 it was deteriorated. The health and hygiene, here we have some improvement in some indicators, like for instance the precision dentistry and the access to improved sanitation, while we are having dropping in the hospital beds. Prioritization of travel and tourism. This is covering the government prioritization of the travel and tourism industry, the government expenditure, and the effectiveness of marketing and branding. We can see that there is no big drops. If we go to the second subsector concerning the business environment and the infrastructure, we're having the first indicator relating to the air transport infrastructure. We had some improvement in the quality of air transport infrastructure. Almost the same figures for the available seats, whether domestic or international. The airport density, the human operating airline, this was the only one improved. For the ground transport infrastructure, we find also that the figures dropped and were deteriorated. The tourism infrastructure, it was not that much dropped and deteriorated, but I think it needs always to work on improvements. The ICT infrastructure in 2011, also it was deteriorated and the figures were dropped. The price competitiveness in the travel and tourism industry, from the ticket taxes, airport charges, purchasing power, extended effect of the taxations, the fuel price level, and the hotel price index. Most of the indicators, there was deterioration in it. The last sector is the human, natural, and cultural resources. For the human resources, this is dropped tremendously and deteriorated, and I think this is a sector we need to work on development. The affinity for the travel and tourism, also figures. By the way, all these figures will be available if anyone would like to have it more specifically. The natural resources, the number of the World Heritage and natural sites, the protected areas, the quality of the natural environment, and the total known specimen, as well as the cultural resources. Besides the Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Index, we are also recording the Adventure Tourism Development Index relating to the adventure tourism development in Egypt, as this area or this product is increasing globally. And this adventure tourism development is actually an initiative between the George Washington University and the Adventure Travel Trade Association, and it is composed of 10 pillars divided into 3 categories: the safety and welcoming, the adventure, and the neatness. If we just see also the 3 sub-sectors, each one, for instance, the safety and welcoming, it consists of the government policies supporting the sustainable development, the safety, the natural resources, and health. While under the adventure, we have the adventure activity resources and entrepreneurship. In the readiness, we have the humanitarian, infrastructure, cultural resources, adventure, image, and brand. Just the ranking for Egypt in the adventure tourism development. Egypt was ranked in 2008 in the 34 out of 163 countries. In 2009, we were ranked, there was a good improvement, we were ranked 15 out of 168. In 2010, we dropped back and we were 18. Actually, as Saif mentioned, figures does not lie, and ranking, this is a very important signal and sign that give us where the areas we need to work on for improvement and development. Thank you very much.